First, it was Disney, offending the liberals. Now, it's Seinfeld. Yes, Seinfeld is, quote, offensive to millennials. What is wrong with people? Seinfeld's one of the, number one television shows almost of all time. It's classic. They've got classic quotes, classic acting, classic everything. It's an all-star cast. It's perfect. So how can it be offensive? Well, the millennial-focused website Bustle, Bustle, has been under fire for what they've come up with as far as what exactly is offensive on Seinfeld. They have 13, I'm sure they can come up with more, offensive moments on the TV show. So to go over these offenses, we're going to go with the number one offensive one out of all of them, really. I mean, hands down, it has to be the soup Nazi. The soup Nazi, I don't know if you remember, is the guy that goes and tells him no soup for you, and he was just kind of harsh and wouldn't give the soup out. So they called him a soup Nazi. They say that it's okay for viewers then, people thought, but today, when groups of neo-Nazis have become noticeably embodied, using the term Nazi to label someone as a joke doesn't sit as well. And I don't necessarily still find that offensive, but then again, I'm not a millennial. The next one is the Indian giver joke. Of course, growing up, you would always call somebody an Indian giver. You give somebody something and they don't, I call it a Native American giver now just because it is less offensive. But they say the joking about a Native American person being a, quote, Indian giver was never okay. Ever. And it's definitely not okay now. Joking that a racial stereotype about an oppressed group is truthful is a dangerous road, and Seinfeld probably couldn't get away with doing it in 2018. I would probably disagree with that. I'm sure Seinfeld could get away with it because it's Seinfeld. Now this one, I can see how this could be a little too. The episode where Kramer stomps on a burning Puerto Rican flag. This one actually had the president of the Puerto Rican coalition. He actually said it was offensive, and it was unacceptable that the Puerto Rican flag be used by Seinfeld as a stage prop under any circumstances. So I could see that, and I think that if another country was to do it with the American flag, we would probably be a little upset on that too. So we'll just kind of say I get it, but at the same time, it's a TV show, and look at the humor that they go with and pull your head out. The joke that someone thinks Jerry and George are in a same-sex relationship. In season 4, episode 17, a journalist thinks that Jerry and George are in a same-sex relationship, and it's the basis of a whole episode's worth of bad jokes. Even if this same joke recurred in Friends years later, it's not that funny now. I grew up with Bert and Ernie, and everybody thought that, and guess what? I still don't care. I turned out okay. Okay, we'll skip that. When Kramer has house guests from Japan, and he has them sleep in his dresser drawers. Because they're little. Kramer has visiting Japanese businessmen stay in his apartment, and since the space was limited, Jerry's neighbor has the house guests sleep in dresser drawers. That just wouldn't fly now, they say. Sure, I don't see a problem there. When Jerry accidentally gets a man deported Again, so much of Seinfeld's humor relies on the misfortunes of its main characters who haplessly fumble into misunderstandings that often have major consequences for other characters. That's exactly what happens in the episode when Jerry mistakenly causes Babu Bhatt to be deported. Well, if he's here illegally and he gets deported, then yeah, but if he's here legally, technically he shouldn't be deported. Right? Just a thought. When the episode was Cedric and Bob. Cedric and Bob appear in 3 episodes per Seinfeld's Wikipedia, including the Puerto Rican Day episode. In each episode they appear, the 2 characters who make up a gay couple play up stereotypes of both Latinx and homosexual male cultures. They do that on Modern Family, and everybody loves that. Just can't offend everybody. Okay, when George got caught staring at a teenager's breasts, they say everything about this storyline is awkward and it's probably enough to make any diehard Seinfeld question the show if they think about it for too long. That's why I don't think about it. And I love Seinfeld. We'll move along. Number 9, the Chinese woman. He says, Jerry says, if I like their race, how can that be racist? Jerry asks after telling Elaine that he loves Chinese women. Hopefully the issue with that exchange, they don't require further explanation for anyone in 2018. What's wrong with saying you like Chinese women? I don't get it. Next, the joke about the pigman. Kramer thinks he sees a pigman while at the hospital, and later he discovers that the person was a, quote, fat little mental patient. They say the word yikes after that. What's wrong with being a fat little mental patient? I'm a big fat mental patient. I don't take offense to that. Number 11, when George pursues a woman because she can't speak English. In season 4, episode 18, George and the crew volunteer to help the elderly. Once George learns that a housekeeper who works for Jerry's assigned patient doesn't speak English. George says he's interested in dating her. The joke here is that George finds a woman who can't talk to him attractive and ew. Maybe you just liked her accent. Who cares? Don't judge other people because of their preference. I think that's what they would say if things were turned. All right, number 12, the joke about the handicap spot. In season 4, entitled The Handicap Spot, Kramer convinces George to park in a handicap spot, and when the group returns to the car, they learn that a person in a wheelchair got in an accident because the handicap spot was taken. The fact that a big laugh comes after a woman describes the person in a wheelchair falling down an incline and into a wall might make you feel a bit icky, and for a good reason. Personally, the wheelchair scene at the very end of Naked Gun, where O.J. Simpson's sitting there and Leslie Nielsen goes and pats him on the back, and he goes down the stairs at Dodger Stadium, and then hits the guardrail and falls down. That was hilarious. Not because I think it's funny when handicapped people hurt themselves. It's a comedy, just like Seinfeld. Cringe. The joke about George's girlfriend's big nose. Yeah. In season 3's 9th episode, George dates a woman with a large nose, and she decides to get a nose job after Kramer says she needs one. It's so wrong on so many levels, they say. As much as you want your favorite show in the world to withstand the test of time, Seinfeld fans might have to find out their show is problematic in many instances. Here's where it's problematic. The ending They should have just kept going. It's a classic. I don't understand stupid people. When these people come to us and say, we want tolerance, we want you to accept us, we want. And if we go to said people and say, hey, we want you to leave our TV show alone, you get threats. Hypocrisy at its finest. So, my advice to you would be, hit up, like, I don't know where you can find it, maybe like Netflix or Hulu. I don't think it's on Amazon. Actually, I really don't. Watch all the Seinfelds. And if you're a big Seinfeld fan, or if you have a favorite episode, or if you find Seinfeld offensive, in the comments below, tell me all about it. Tell me just how offensive or offended you are by bustle.com and their ignorance and their stupidity and everything else that goes along with it. Because personally, I think this is garbage. And this is actually what really makes the news. This is what people get worked up over. And it's stupid. Gosh, I wish this was a fake news Friday. But this is the real deal. And as a real journalist and newscaster, I'm obligated to bring this to you. So with that being said, give me a thumb up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you made it this far, write Soup Nazi in the comments. Cool? Cool. We'll see you later. Bye.